let me all ask you a question. What are the hierarchies in your life? So let us travel back in time to 2003. Imagine a little me in kindergarten, which unfortunately can't be that hard to imagine since I haven't grown much since then. There was a sort of ongoing competition between all the kids in the class, myself included, a battle to the death for toys. Now, there was a playroom, and when my teacher would call playtime, we'd all rush over to the cabinet as fast as we could, and we'd try to get our hands on the bongos. Now, no one really cared much about the tambourines or the maracas because obviously the bongos were better. Well, I say this jokingly and sarcastically even, because there was nothing special about the bongos at all. They were actually kind of old and faded. But the main thing is that even us 5-year-olds had established a hierarchy among even the most simple of things, toys. So what I'm getting at here is that these hierarchies that we have in our lives lead us to create ranking systems, and even with things much more significant than toys. In nature, we see that there are humans at the top of this sort of pecking order, and as we travel down to the base, we see the rather undesirable creatures, the insects and the rodents, the ones that aren't invited to your daughter's birthday party or your annual 4th of July barbecue. 3/4 of an inch. That's pretty small, right? That's the size of an average honeybee. Now, despite their meager size and rather unimpressive exoskeleton, honeybees actually have a pretty big role in our environment. However, humans have typically disregarded bees because obviously humans are more important than bees. As a result, honeybee populations have actually been in serious decline as of recent years, a causal effect of bee-killing pesticides. According to the NRDC, since 2006, about 1/3 of honeybee colonies have vanished in the United States, about 34% to be exact. And if this doesn't really mean anything to you, this might. There's about $15 billion worth of crops at risk. That means your breakfast, lunch, and dinner are in jeopardy. And if you love food as much as me, that might be a big problem for you as well. But I'm not here to talk to you about colony collapse disorder, however fascinating that might be sounding to you. I'm here to talk to you about hierarchies. And what I discovered about hierarchies is that they lead us to focus a little bit too much on the big picture, and they allow us to isolate ourselves from feeling the effects of our actions upon others. Now, I am by no means a bug lover. I don't know many people who are, actually. When I was in 3rd grade, I was writing for an essay prompt, and the prompt was, "What would you do if you were president?" Now, I said, "I will gather all the bugs in the world and put them into a jar and kill them." I don't really know how that could have turned out, but my main point is that I thought bugs were completely useless in the world. But as I've grown older and I've kind of changed my point of view, I started focusing more on the little things. And as I've done this, I've learned to recognize that bugs are important. They have value. They are useful. And now in the cold, dark 5 o'clock mornings before zero period, if I see a spider on my bathroom floor, I don't try to squish it with the scrunched up tissue paper and flush it down the toilet. God forbid it comes back and bites me in the middle of the night. I actually leave it there, as appalling as that may sound to many of you, because their value cannot be known to me. Their value in the environment is so far greater than what I can imagine. And to that extent, I theorize that hierarchies tend to lead us to focus too much on the big picture and far less on the little things, when in reality, sometimes the little things, the bugs and spiders in our lives, can be the most important. So with this, I thought to myself, if I can foster the ability to think beyond a simple hierarchy in the way I interact with other species, can I move this into my connections with people, the way I interact with my friends, my classmates, my family? I wonder if it's through social conditioning that humans have grown rather accustomed to comparing ourselves with other humans. But the main question we must ask ourselves is, what if we have been slowing down our development and growth as humans and as a society due to this structured way of thinking? What if we have been, at the risk of sounding cliche, what if we have been inhibiting our ability to think outside the box and create our own expectations? Now, when I take a look at humans, I see that self-interest is inherent. If you tell a group of 10 kids that there's only 5 popsicles left, it is in your best interest to go run to the store and get popsicles as fast as you can so as to avoid a major dessert crisis. So the problem with hierarchies in my life is that they exploit my personal self-interest, my inherent self-interest. So back freshman year, I sort of shied away from hanging out with certain people because, as kids do, you think, oh, they're not in my social group. But as I've grown older, older being 2 more years, I realized that these people have turned out to be some of my closest friends and some of my best friends, the ones I love to see. And so I truly think that when you learn to rid yourself of hierarchies in your life, you can find connections and opportunities that you may have overlooked before. And more significantly, another issue with hierarchies I find is that it creates followers and not thinkers, not pursuers of passion. If I so strongly believe that I am inferior to another person, then what's the point of pursuing passions for myself? Well, earlier this year I found the answer to this question. My changed way of thinking led me to pursue my passion for volleyball. Now, I love volleyball. It's my #1 favorite thing to do. It's always on my mind. And you can imagine my discouragement, my dismay, when I found out there was a senior playing in my position already. And obviously, I could have assumed that in the hierarchy of grade levels, the senior would triumph, because a senior over a junior, and I would spend another season on the bench, cheering my team on, giving them water. But I learned to think beyond this hierarchy. I pushed myself to do what I wanted to do, and I did get the spot, and I realized that the point of this hierarchy is to think beyond your mental limitations, because this hierarchy had led me to underestimate my ability as an athlete, and it led me to underestimate my ability as a thinker, as a pursuer of passion. So what we can all do is to take a moment, and think outside the box. We as humans have the ability not only to change our own thought processes, but also help others break through their hierarchies. And this process starts small, like with bugs. Maybe we can leave that spider or fly there. We can let that bee fly around during that family barbecue, however annoying it may be. And maybe on a more relatable level, we can accept the ideas of that intern or that freshman or that new employee at work that you're maybe not so sure about. And the thing is with hierarchies is that whether socially or personally determined, they shape our expectations. And to change these expectations, to breakthrough of a hierarchy is to inspire collaboration, productivity, and to a greater extent, passion. And if there's one thing I want to leave with you by the end of tonight, it is that the little things are never truly little. Thank you.